Good morning, coffee moaners. Good morning, good morning. Do not be alarmed.
I'm on my way.
I am not co-presenting with the yucca plant, though there aren't any yucca plants behind me. Welcome, everyone. I hope you're all well. I hope it's thawing a little bit wherever you are. I know that certain parts of the country are absolutely embedded in snow, aren't you? No grit on the roads, but I have to confess, today it's mild, it's balmy, and it's lovely down in London. Morning, everyone. Morning. Nadia will be with me shortly. So, in terms of what's on the agenda this morning, we are going to be talking a lot about Trump's unhinged speech that he gave to Republicans yesterday. We've got funny angles on it. We've got worrying angles on it. We've got batshit crazy angles on it. We're going to continue to talk about the illegality of the Venezuelan, the abduction of the Venezuelan leader. But we're also going to keep talking about what Starmer could have done, should have done, hasn't done, and how what he did do or didn't do or hasn't done has still meant that America has called him weak. And that sound above could be one of the many military planes that I've just found a story in the Times that's kind of gone under the radar. A huge amount of American airborne military kit has landed in this country, and no one really quite understands why. Could this be tied into the pizza meter? Could we be about to see something happen in Iran? I have a feeling we could. We're also going to talk about NATO, and more importantly, at the sort of around 10:45, we have a lovely guest, a friend of ours and campaigner, Helen. Helen, is she Helen Addis MBE?
Yes, she is, but I can't call her Helen. We call her Tits.
Can we call her Lady Tits?
We call her Lady Tits. So Lady Tits, my friend, many of you know her as one of the Fab Four, will be joining us at 10:45. Unfortunately, to talk about a very, very sad situation. Many of you will remember the NHS campaign, where the part of the campaign where 31 women took their tops off and stood outside the front of Westminster. It was just Labour had just got in, actually.
Yeah, they had,
I think it was in the first week, trying to get seen, trying to get noticed, trying to help West Streeting understand what 31 women that could possibly die without this drug in HER2 sooner than they needed to, what that might look like, 31 women altogether. And this week we lost the secondary breast cancer community, lost a second person within a week. Now we have lost more than that from that photograph, but just in the last week, Jeannie Ambrose, and we're going to be, she campaigned with us. She was out there with her top off, and she was with us a few weeks afterwards at Westminster. And Hannah and her were very, very, very fond of each other. And so Titi's going to come in and talk to us about where we're at with the campaign and tell us a little more about Jeannie, and a few moments, of course, on our lovely Hannah, who we are just in the very early stages of grieving. So forgive us if we're a little bit wobbly, but that will be around 10:45. So yeah,
thereabouts.
And if you want to follow my friend Tits, she's on at the Titty Gritty. She's a fabulous woman, and we're going to be seeing a lot more of her.
Yeah, absolutely. But do we have to curtsy when we see her?
We do.
Okay.
Lady Tits only.
Okay, well, let's kind of talk about a couple. We tend to sort of sometimes like to kind of just show you a few kind of memes or headlines or things that have kind of, a bit like around the water cooler. We don't want to just go in hard news on the top news story. Yeah. But a couple of things that kind of have alarmed me that I saw, and these are directly relating actually to the Venezuela, the abduction of the Venezuelan president. This story, perhaps not surprising for those who've been following the Gaza genocide and the BBC's coverage of the genocide. This story I thought was rather worrying. Novara Media reporting that BBC instructed reporters not to say that Venezuela's president was kidnapped.
Okay, so I saw this, and of course my immediate response is, oh my God, it's terrible. But to the letter of the law, is what's happened to him a kidnapping?
Okay, let me explain to you
Because
what
the
happened.
BBC
The lights were turned off illegally in a foreign country.
No, I know, but
they smashed through his property. They killed 32 bodyguards. He was escaping to a safe space. They abducted him in a plane, a boat. They escorted him first, you say, to Guantanamo Bay, then New York. I don't know, call me old-fashioned, but in my book, that sounds like a pretty damn straightforward. And hang on this, kidnapping. Donald Trump, when asked if they'd kidnapped him, and said, "It's an appropriate word."
Oh, did he? Oh, right.
I'm sure at the White House and the Pentagon, they use the word kidnap.
So what is the, and of course I see it completely as a kidnap, but what is the thinking of the big wigs at BBC that disallow it? Why?
Well, a couple of thoughts. I think we have a BBC that is so scared.
Yes.
So scared of everything and everyone. And this, what I see in this is the cumulative impact of, and I hate to say it, but the pro-Israel lobby putting so much inordinate and constant pressure on the BBC to tiptoe around its use of language all the time, that it's kind of so eggshelly and focused. But also they've got a massive lawsuit that was being threatened against them by Trump.
So lawyers will have said, listen, be absolutely like clean on this to the letter of the law. We can't call it kidnapping. Is that what it is?
But Donald Trump's called it a kidnapping. So this is why this becomes a really troubling story. If you've got lawyers at the BBC saying, don't call it a kidnapping, when the guy who did it called it a kidnapping.
Yeah, but I suppose they would say that he's outside of the law and the way he describes things himself.
But I think you can rest assured that the guy who's threatening to sue you, if he's called it a kidnapping, it's about the safest place you could be.
I'm just trying to understand why BBC
no, I mean, I'm being facetious, but it's remarkable, isn't it? I mean, I think this is where we're at, where broadcasters are running scared, absolutely running scared. So that was
how many billions is he suing them for again? Is it 4 billion?
There's 2 billion. Maybe it was 7. I mean, it was a
I can't remember. It's just monopoly money, isn't it?
An eye-watering amount. Because this isn't like one of the main stories, I just want to pull this up. This worried me. This was a story I just found in the Times this morning. Fleet of heavily armed US military planes land in England. 14 Globemasters, 2 Ghost Riders have landed at RAF bases. Now,
I saw a video on this yesterday and I was really interested because I thought he was going to actually give me what he thought it was. And he said, there is no way any of us can know why this has happened.
No, but I think once again, the thing that's interesting about the landscape and the world we live in now, when you hear something like that, you don't just think benevolently, oh, it's just military maneuvers. You think, oh, could it be the beginning of World War III? I mean, I think we're all underestimating the extent to which I remember in the 70s, there was a real fear of nuclear Armageddon, wasn't it? I remember seeing a nuclear bomb.
We used to think of it all the time, didn't we?
Yeah, on television. I ran through to the kitchen screaming.
We had our CMD badges. And
I mean, it was just like, it was, but I remember as a kid.
You ran to the kitchen screaming.
No, because when I was 7, there was a footage on TV of the consequences of a nuclear bomb. And I saw everyone incinerated in their home. And that looked infinitely more unsettling than how unsettling my domestic setup was.
Yeah.
Which was unsettling.
Don't forget just last year. Was it last year when we were all ringing each other up asking how to get iodine?
Yes.
Do you remember?
Iodine
Lee was telling me what to do and where I could get it and where I would have to sit if there was an attack from Russia.
Yeah. So again, that was something that's slightly worrying. And then we're going to move towards the kind of things in the title. And then this just popped up. Miss Anne Harriman posted this. Does anyone remember Melanie Phillips, the rabid Telegraph journalist who basically denies the existence of Palestine? She was standing up with the glasses. She's rabid.
My God, she was petrified. What she felt was okay to say on a public stage.
Well, let's see what she feels it's okay to say on a public forum. Reposted by Miss Anne Harriman. Melanie Phillips, in response to Hamish Falconer saying congratulations to Palestine on the official opening of the Embassy of Palestine to the UK, Melanie Phillips said, a non-embassy for a non-state for a non-people, an important moment in the UK's shameful connivance with the Palestinian Arabs' final solution.
What is wrong with her?
And
who is she? What qualifies her?
She's a journalist.
Just a journalist.
Yeah, but she's always been, I would argue, a fascistic journalist. How can she use language like this, says Miss Anne, and still write for a major British newspaper? Imagine if the statement were reversed and a Muslim spoken this way. So the reason I wanted to pull that up was just remember the anti-Palestinian, anti-Gaza, anti-West Bank, anti-Muslim sentiment is kicking proudly in this country still. It's all over the place. You know, we're all focusing on Venezuela.
And it's all allowed. This language is allowed.
This
the
is
other way
fine.
around, it wouldn't be allowed.
No.
No.
So anyway, so I just wanted to touch upon that. So what's your thoughts, Naz? Have you seen what bits of, I've got so many clips from Donald Trump's bizarre speech yesterday. Bizarre speech.
I haven't watched the whole speech, and this morning I was going to, but then because we decided to do this discussion around inherited, and I was looking at clips of Hannah, and I was getting lost in all sorts of wormholes.
Of course.
But yesterday, earlier this morning, I was listening to the two British correspondents in America on Sky News talking about it, and one of the clips that they showed was
the impeachment one.
Was Trump doing a piss take of Macron, doing an impersonation of Macron.
I have the clip.
Right, and I don't know, and I didn't know at that point whether this was post the NATO allies signing.
Right. Okay. I can give you some details on the timings of things.
Right.
When I ran into the kitchen from editing and said to Naz, you're not going to believe it, but Starmer, I think, in an attempt to make good on Venezuela, has signed this letter about Greenland, which we're going to talk about. So they fired this missive off saying, we stand with Greenland, we stand with the Danish.
This is the NATO allies.
Yeah.
So this is.
It's not NATO. These are certain countries.
The allies.
But not all of them.
Not all of them, no.
Anyway, so I ran in, and at that point I said, well, let's quickly check Trump's Truth Social. And his last post, minutes before that had landed in this country and all over the world, was he'd gone, I'm on my way to see you all. I like most Republicans. Not all Republicans. I like Republicans who like me. I don't like you all. Nobody likes Republicans better than me. And he'd written some garbage about heading off and he couldn't wait to meet them on. Then to do this speech. So whilst he may have known about the letter from Greenland and Macron and Starmer, my feeling is that his aides may have prevented him from hearing that.
Well, the speech was an hour and a half long. The ego of the man, the hubris of the man is quite petrifying. But what I felt when I saw that was, and bear with me because Mark couldn't get what I was talking about this morning.
Well, I think Victoria Moore already gets what you're talking about.
So it's widely spoken and thought and felt and has come out apparently from the White House from various sources close to Trump that he was enraged by Maduro, am I saying it right? Maduro dancing, taking the piss out of his dancing. And that this triggered, obviously, it wasn't like, go in and invade Venezuela. This will have been, this would have been planned for a while. But apparently it really triggered him. He did not like it. I think he discusses it actually even in that speech.
He talks about dancing.
Yeah. And so he starts to do this piss take of Macron. It was so cringe. And then he starts to say, do
you want the clip
first?
Play
the clip. If you've got that clip, play that.
You know, Emmanuel Macron, I love the French accent. Emmanuel. They said, listen, you're going to have to raise your prices a little bit because we're paying 14 times more than you. Emmanuel goes, no. We will not do that. Yes, you will, Emmanuel, 100%. The answer is no. We're not going to double our drug prices. Not for you or anybody else. I said, yes, you are, 100%. We are not going to do it. No, you don't understand. 100%. You're going to do it and you're going to like it. I said, okay, here's the story, Emmanuel. If on Monday you haven't agreed to every single thing that we want, I'm putting a 25% tariff on everything coming out of France, including your wines, your champagnes, and everything else. Emmanuel said to me, Donald, you have a deal. I would love to increase my prescription drug prices by 200% or whatever. I would love to do it. It'd be such an honor. Whatever you want, Donald, please. Don't tell the population. Please, Donald, I beg you. Every country said the same thing. No, we will not do this. Some were strong, some were...
Okay, so I sent Mark that clip, but and so that's my fault. But what he said that worried me was Donald. He called me Donald. People call me Mr. President. Even Putin calls me Mr. President. people that respect me call me Mr. President. And I was like, oh shit, this is like the dance.
Yeah.
This is like the dance, because what we're dealing with here is, in my opinion, is a sociopath with raging hubris who has the heart, who has the brain of a 2-year-old. He gets so deeply offended. He never forgives or forgets anything. And so I was like, shit, he could have kicked off World War III by calling him Flaming Donald. And this is where we are at, that we can literally have those thoughts and they're not that crazy.
But also, I think what was more troubling about that clip actually was the fact that he was clearly telling us that he was mobster style.
Yes.
You know, blackmailing, you know, leveraging, strong arming Macron. He then says, Macron says, please don't tell the population. I mean, this is deeply, deeply well, I mean, having yesterday uploaded something saying where the word diplomacy no longer has any meaning to me. I mean, this guy has just rendered completely irrelevant the idea of any kind of private conversation.
He's high. They described it on Sky News that he's got a sugar high.
Well, he was
Patty Kay said that as well. She said, I've seen this with many presidents. There's a military offensive and they go on this high, and he's on that adrenaline high and he's completely, you know, untouchable.
I mean, Nadia didn't like the way I was using it because I'd been in the car for a while and I'd heard most of this speech. And I actually, and I'm saying this from everyone knows what I think of Trump. I thought for Trump, he was incredibly articulate. I thought he was incredibly connected in his thinking. He sounded energized. He sounded pumped up. He sounded full of confidence. He sounded cocksure. He was cracking jokes. He was saying stuff like this.
On the high.
She said, you know, she's a very classy person, right? She said, it's so unpresidential. I said, but I did become president. You know, she hates when I dance. I said, everybody wants me to dance. Darling, it's not presidential. She actually said, could you imagine FDR dancing? She said that to me.
He just loves being equated with FDR.
We've spoken a lot here about him without mentioning that his hair is now pink.
Is it?
Got pink hair.
Let me just kill the audio on the next clip and let's have another look. Is his hair pink, really? Is he gone for a pink rinse?
His hair is pink.
It really is. He's gone for a pink rinse.
He's gone for a candy floss rinse. Oh my God. Look at the colour of the tan has gone crazy.
Everything's not working in a sort of...
Why doesn't he get a decent hair and makeup artist?
I don't think anyone wants to go near his face. Let me just... I'm just going to... lovely Helen is in the green room, as we call it on StreamYard. Hi Helen.
We'll be with you soon. Don't worry. Don't worry, darling. We'll give you notice.
I do want to pull together this. Jimmy Kimmel. Let's not forget, Trump tried to get Jimmy Kimmel fired. He was pulled off air. I love the fact that Jimmy Kimmel's about the only person on the planet who's not scared of Trump, and he just keeps pushing back. Anyway, Kimmel has done us a job of editing together the weirdest bits from the entire speech. So check this out.
A friend of mine who's really smart said, you know, you've got to be the most honest guy in history. I want the assignment, and the guy is great. The yellow is a beautiful shade of yellow. The fat drug doesn't work on you. Why are you even taking it? I have a little tiny fish this big. Bring your kids in. We're going to change the sex of your child. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Sir, are you okay? Sir, could you call up? Yes, I love this dog so much. Donald, no. No. The answer is no. No. Ba. Boom. Oh. Yeah. What? Whoa. Boom. Ping. Bing. Bing. Defense. Boom. Oh my God.
Well
bang. Yeah. And Bing. I wish you could explain to me what the hell's going on.
Sorry, I missed that. Was that Macron? Was he talking about Macron?
Within there, yeah. He's talking about so many things. Yeah, Donald. Yeah, when he said Donald.
I love the French when they do it.
Oh my God, it's so funny.
But so NATO.
Well, NATO, we're in a really curious situation. I don't know whether to find this funny or genuinely batshit petrifying. So at the moment, we have an empty oil tanker that has escaped from Venezuela that the Americans want. There's no oil on it. Whilst it was escaping across, and apparently it forms part of what's called this ghost fleet, all over the planet at any time, there is a ghost market of oil that is not recognized, is not recorded, there's no admin for it. It's the dark market of oil. But this just happens to be one of the boats on.
So if you want to buy it, who do you pay?
You deal with very dark people in, I don't know, Siberia.
Is it like
it's
the dark web?
It's the black market. It's the black market of oil. Yeah. It's like hidden. They're called ghost ships, ghost fleets, ghost market. And all this kind of stuff. Anyway, this boat is one of them, but it's off the coast of Ireland. Sorry, Ireland, if you get caught up in the Third World War. It's empty, hasn't got any oil on it, but the crew rapidly raised a Russian flag and drew the Russian flag on the side of the hull in the thought that it would dissuade America and NATO from fully boarding it. Yeah, there you go. Shadow fleet of ships evading sanctions on Russia.
Interesting.
They do it by changing flags. The slightly concerning part of all of this is we've had a whole heap of American planes land in the UK. We have an oil tanker that now identifies as Russian off the coast in the North Atlantic. We have NATO chasing it, America chasing it, and I've just heard that Russia are sending a fleet of ships to escort it. So things just get curiouser and curiouser that an empty oil tanker on the run could end up being something of an ignition point for something just off the coast of Ireland, of all places. So it's all, in terms of NATO, the situation for NATO, and then we'll I've got 5 minutes. The situation with NATO is this, European leaders, not all of them, but many European leaders, most European leaders have pushed back against Donald Trump's suggestion that America could use military might to take Greenland.
I wonder why the ones that haven't.
Well, because when you look at the other ones, Portugal, I think, Hungary, they're kind of curiously Hungary is a huge supporter, isn't it, of America. It's the more sort of right-wing countries.
Portugal hasn't, no?
No, Portugal isn't on the list. The weirdest thing about the Greenland situation is that, as we've talked about over the last few days, the Americans keep talking about the fact that they want to use, could use military might, You were saying James O'Brien has suggested. And I think everyone thinks it wouldn't take much military might. You just have to send about 6 soldiers. They get off and they go, it's ours. And pretty much
it's like Stephen Miller said, yesterday in that deranged rant.
Yes.
On whatever channel it was. So, nobody's going to do anything.
No.
America gets to do whatever it wants.
No, and
Greenland, we'll just take it. Nobody's going to, and that's the point.
Yeah.
If NATO have said, this is the line, you can't cross it, you can't take Greenland. What happens when America does take Greenland? What does NATO do then? Well, the signatories.
Well, it is a little bit like that Robin Williams sketch, isn't it? Where he characterized conflict in the Middle East. And he said, if you cross this line, you're dead. And then they cross the line and he pushes back and he goes, okay, well, if you cross this line, this is the line of death. And the line just keeps changing. There is absolutely nothing Europe can do other than potentially decide to eject America from NATO. And we all know that wouldn't be a punishment for Trump. It'll be like, brilliant. Now I don't have to pay into it.
But it is.
So the weirdest situation of all of this is strictly legally, if they were to militarily take Greenland, Article 5 of the NATO constitution, if you like, is that an invasion on, an attack on one country is an attack on all. So theoretically, we all have to go to war against America.
Which is crazy, because really, what is NATO without America?
Which is why I think when they say you're not going to be part of the club, America's going to go, yippity-doo-dah, we're still invading Greenland. So
this is all just cosmetic.
Nothing can change.
It's hair and makeup.
It's all hair and makeup. And the weird thing is, and I feel I can't believe I'm saying this, I felt a little bit sorry for Starmer last night.
This is twice in a row you said this.
Well, it's about the same thing, but it's like,
I do.
He said virtually nothing.
It's been a rock and a hard place.
Literally. I mean, it's between Greenland and a hard place.
But it's interesting how often in America they seem to be picking up on him, or is it just because we only hear about him?
No, you're absolutely right. No, I mean, America has said, what was their line on it? Basically, weak UK. A senior White House official said the response from London was predictable. They are just weak. This is an insult. Strongest type of insult thrown around at the this particular type of insult is the strongest one that could be thrown by the White House. So the White House and Trump are just kind of totally.
But I mean,
why
are they insulting him? He didn't say anything.
I mean, he stayed as on the fence. So by staying on the fence, he's been anti-America.
As I always say, what does Scaramucci say? Don't be an arse licker. He'll kick you.
But what's the answer? Should he have just jumped up and down the joy and said yes? Or he's got nothing to lose from saying you're wrong, Trump.
Rock and a hard place.
So I personally think the reason Starmer ran at this letter from Greenland, and I do think Starmer's just thinking as he goes, he went, oh, yes, absolutely. Put my name on the list. I've made a complete fucking mess of Venezuela. Let's try and fix this fucking mess with Greenland. And that's what he's
Hello. Hello.
Change. We just have change everywhere. You need to change my pants.
Change. God, Lord Almighty.
Anyway, moving on and moving away from global matters.
Yes, and we really did last minute decide to talk about this and invite my friend Tits on today, Lady Tits, because I just saw this morning that a lovely woman, Jeannie Ambrose. I only met her twice. I didn't know her well, but she was part of our campaign. There she is. Mark took that photograph actually. And she was one of the 31 women that stood outside Parliament trying to move the hearts and minds of the government to allow Inherto to be available in England in the same way that it is across almost every other country. And Hannah and Jean, there they are. I think Kaz was saying to me today, they really liked each other enormously. Tits knew her better than me, so we're going to bring Tits in a second, and also to get from Tits where we are with the campaign, because so many of you have supported it, not just by donations, but also by always being engaged and asking me how things are going and where we're at. So it's just over a week that we lost Hannah, and Jeannie passed away just yesterday, I believe. So 2 for sure from our 31, and we know that there are more that have already have died. And of course, we can't say categorically they would have been here longer if they'd had Inherto. But we certainly know that both of them, when they should have been spending time with their family, were campaigning. And in Hannah's case, desperately trying to get on trials. And we think it's an absolute travesty. And I know that the secondary breast cancer community today are grieving, are angry, feel let down all over again, and of course terrified for those women, those women that also need it. Anyway, so let's bring in Lady Tits, and it was Mark that renamed our Tits to Lady Tits because she's now MBE. Oh my God, we've never had an MBE on Coffee Moaning before.
Oh my God. Oh, I didn't realise when I put my name in that would actually come up. I would have put something a bit more extravagant.
So Tits is, we call her Tits because we gave her this, it was actually Kaz from the Fab Four, Dance Your Tits Off, you'll know her, who actually named Tits on our trek for Copperfield, which is where we all met, and of course bonded our bonded our very special friendship, the four of us. Actually, we just spent the weekend together, didn't we, in Hove, the first time since.
We did, and it was sort of bittersweet, wasn't it, getting together, but felt weird booking a table for lunch for 3.
Yeah. And just, the minute I got there, I was just in floods. I had to go down to the beach, and but we had so many happy times there, didn't we? We talked, we cried, and we laughed, and we talked, we laughed, and cried. So it was a really special weekend.
And then yesterday totally winded us, didn't it? When we get the news about Jeannie, and it's like, you look at that really poignant picture where we were all outside Parliament back it was in May, wasn't it? And how many of those women, unfortunately, and sadly, aren't with us anymore. And I know we can't say that they would definitely still be here, but they're statistically, they would have got a little bit, at least, of extra time. But oncologists, world oncologists who gave this drug a standing ovation, say that it can give sort of 6 to 12 months extra.
Yeah. And for many people, you might go, oh, 6 to 12 months, to spend that money. But like we've just had
your mum or your sister or your best friend,
or your mum.
Yeah.
And when we, having just gone through what we have all gone through with Hannah, through her, she had a really tough last few months, fighting hard for every extra day. And I always talk about cancer years in the terms of dog's years, you know, that it's multiplied. Actually, you know what, Tits, I think it would be nice now to play in a video of Hannah with all her hopes for NHER2 that she made for us for Loose Women. We just played a short clip of it on Loose Women, I think, but let's play it. Prepare yourself, because we're going to see her beautiful face and her lovely voice and the hope that she had, and that so many women still have, that have the same cancer. Now it's HER2 low, isn't it, Tits?
That's right. Specifically, it's HER2 low, because HER2 is available for other diseases or other strains of breast cancer, but it's specifically HER2 low.
That you're not allowed to have it.
Not allowed.
Okay.
Everyone, I just wanted to say the hugest thank you to Loose Women for shining a spotlight on this today. I don't think we all speak about secondary breast cancer enough, and I've had a little think about it, and I do wonder if it's because it being incurable makes it feel like a bit of a dark conversation to have, and perhaps a bit of a helpless, hopeless situation for anyone to find themselves in. But that's the point here, that there can be so much hope to be had after incurable diagnosis. And it's drugs like this, it's drugs like HER2 that help bring about that hope. I mean, to hear that it significantly improves survival and will benefit 1,000 women a year, women like me, is just incredible. But then on the other hand, it's frustrating and heartbreaking that actually it's not on the table yet and it's out of reach for us. So with any luck, this conversation and all the noise being made in the wider community will help give those heads of the bigwigs a wobble, get them sat down, making a deal and making it available. So here's hoping. And Nads, you know what you and this mean to me. Love you so much. Thank you all. Bye-bye. Bye.
Oh, God.
So that was her, full of hope. And I don't know the timeline on that, Tits. You're better at these things. I don't know if it was then after that we went to Westminster with that amazing group of women, and she did her speech. And
I think it was.
And
one of the followers has just nailed it on the head, actually. Eleanor's just said that her best friend has just left behind a 10-year-old son to this awful disease, and any bit of time means the world. And it really, that's the point. Hannah has left behind little 5-year-old Lila. Every bit of time matters. And what I can't get my head around, and all of us that are campaigning, is why is NICE the only health organisation worldwide to disallow? Why are they disallowing HER2?
And also, I mean, I read a story, or I was listening to a story last week where, again, due to global politics, America has got the NHS, it's got its boot on the neck of the NHS in terms of the cost of medication. And suddenly the NHS was managing, or is managing, to find £3 billion to pay for the increased price of medication coming from America because of Trump's tariffs. So they can lay their hands on that money whenever and if ever. This is the bit I don't understand. Yeah,
so this is exactly the point. So they've got the money there to pay for it. It's how they're choosing now to spend it. And it gets really complicated and it baffles my brain. But there was a system in place that came into effect in 2022 called the severity modifier. And what that does is it grades the diseases, all diseases, and on how severe they are. And with that, they allocate whatever pot of money they see fit. Who's they? Who gets to judge that? Now, the old system, the old categorizing system, was called the end of life criteria. And in that system, secondary breast cancer was deemed a severe disease, which meant it had a larger pot of money to spend. And that is a system that Scotland still uses. That's why Enhertu, for HER2 low secondary breast cancer, you get it free of charge. Whereas here in England, Wales and Northern Ireland, at the new system, so the end of life criteria went out and in came the severity modifier, and whoever categorized the diseases into this decided actually secondary breast cancer, which is terminal, you're no longer a severe disease. We're going to downgrade you and make you a moderately severe disease, which means the pot of money, which was this big, has now gone to this big.
Well, and for me, that felt, and when we got the news, and we'll play your little video in a minute, it just felt like games.
Yeah.
Well, let's just move this around to here and here. And so women with secondary breast cancer were left feeling utterly worthless in the eyes of this government and West Streeting and all the flannel we were given. You know, AstraZeneca was blaming the government would blame AstraZeneca, and in the meantime, the massive clock was ticking over these women's heads. I just want to play your video from your Instagram at the Titty Gritty. It's this one, which was a snapshot of how women were feeling. Actually, Jeannie is in that.
Okay, just before we play that, there, Helen, I just want to ask. I mean, the part of that you've just said, this sort of Venn diagram of severity and applicability and who qualifies, etc. Brutal, and also ruthless. But I mean, isn't there something kind of almost oxymoronic about that? Because there are so many conditions that are essentially terminal. I mean, we're all, you know, I remember when I used to say it to my nan at 93, she said, well, how are you, Nan? She said, I'm terminal, I'm 93. You know, I mean, to the extent that there are many, many conditions where I'd have thought you could apply that in any, how can you sort of say that? Because, because it's incurable. There are so many incurable things that are manageable.
One of the things that we were told, and I don't know where we ended up with that when we were at Westminster, Tits, I don't know whether this was continued on, that partly this decision was made because they put out a questionnaire to a large group of people on where they think it would come within, you know, where they feel, where like the public feel, is it severe enough? Is it worth spending money on? I don't know where we ended up with that, but
where we ended up with, it was a lot of closed doors in our faces because nobody was telling us. What we wanted to know was, well, who, this societal preference thing, so who is actually getting to decide this?
Yes.
And which member in our society thinks that it's okay that secondary breast cancer has been downgraded? And with that, we were met with silence, which is why the money that we raised with the Enhertu campaign, we've taken legal action, and it's taken a very long time to get this far. And all I'm allowed to say at the moment is I do have a court date.
Right.
Okay. We are taking this as far as we can possibly take it. It's cost the earth, but with everybody that has donated to the fund, this is, you know, and I have to say, Wes Streeting said to me, I wouldn't have to go this far. It wouldn't have to come to us.
In his office, he said that. He lied. But also, so we wanted to say a big thank you to everybody that donated. Why you haven't been here? Tits has been amazing. Like, don't fucking mess with Tits. No. She's so tenacious. She doesn't let go. She doesn't lose focus. She's had to read these like brain crunching documents, and often would pass them to Hannah because as well. She's worked so hard, Tits, and that she can't tell you anything, but she will when she's allowed. Can't mess up the case. I just wanted to play this video of yours, Tits, just because there's a lot of women here, you know, who all needed Enhertu, and this was back just after we'd been turned down. So
Today, Enhertu was rejected by NICE, and it is devastating, beyond devastating.
There is nothing moderately severe about secondary breast cancer. It killed my mum, it's killed so many of my friends. This decision is appalling.
I am so angry.
I'm 3 years into a 2-year prognosis and living on borrowed time. Is that severe enough for you?
The severity modifier system is flawed. Every expert is telling you to urgently review it.
I'm faced with a prospect. If I need a few more summers with my son, do I sell my home? Is he going to be motherless and without a roof over his head?
How do you put a value on someone's life?
So you say you want the best care for patients, yet there's a drug that can keep us living longer, women who contribute to society, and you can't find a way to give it to us. You should be ashamed.
You have downgraded our cancer to moderate so you can get away with shortening my life and that of thousands of other women.
The reality is that lots of people will die as a consequence of this decision.
You have just destroyed the hope of hundreds of people.
Absolutely shocked and outraged. This was my only lifeline to give me more time.
It's just not fair. The decision you have made today is shocking.
Anyone involved in the process should hang their head in shame.
Today's really hit me hard. I've got 2 little girls that I need to stay here for as long as possible.
Oh, God. Jesus. Oh, God, Helen.
And that was Natalie at the end, and she's one that needs Enhertu herself, and she's on borrowed time, and it's
Just with us in the front of Westminster, at the front. As Hannah said on Lorraine, you know, like any of us wanted to go out and take our tops off in the front of Westminster, that's what women who are fighting for their lives had to do, had to take time off work, had to leave their children, many of them in sandwich generation families where they're also looking after the elderly. It's disgusting. It's an absolute disgrace. And with that questionnaire, probably it's not right terminology, Helen, but we were like, how was the question posed? Was it like, or if you could spend money on a child with cancer, or spend money on a woman with terminal cancer? Because you can, we know we don't even say that really anymore, do we? You can live with cancer for many years. Is that, you know, how was that question posed? And like you said, it was like an iron curtain came down on it all, didn't it? Definitely. We never got the answers on that.
Is there any sense of how little or how much it would cost the NHS if they were to make it available? Do we know?
Well, the thing is, AstraZeneca said in the meeting, didn't they? They weren't, oh God, it was fascinating, that meeting. But they did eventually say, because the NICE kept batting us off by saying, oh, you know, we can't say, we're not allowed, the commercial, we're not allowed to say how much it is. And then AstraZeneca eventually said, well, what we will say is we've offered it at the cheapest rate of anywhere else that we offer it.
In Scotland, they said.
And Scotland have it, yeah.
And Scotland have it. Yeah, and we're talking about 1,000 women, so it's
not even a big, it's not even a huge number.
No. That's what I mean. I mean, you know, it's just infuriating.
But too expensive for people to fund it themselves. I mean, you're talking, well, it depends how long you go, how long it's successful for you. But you're looking around about 100,000.
Yeah. I mean, straight away when we were at the Marsden with Hannah, and they said that that's what she needed next. And if she'd had private healthcare, she would have just gone upstairs. She would have probably just gone up the stairs instead of weeks and weeks of trying to get on a trial and then having to agree to have another toxic drug so that she could have the Enhertu. And of course, at that time, by that time, her cancer had spread further. So it is tragic. We're not going to stop fighting and making a noise about this. And, you know, Tits is the queen. She'll need another MBE.
Yeah, absolutely. You'd have to go to OBE.
You have to do an OBE next.
Well, I mean, just doing kind of the rough kind of financials on that. You're looking at an absolute drop in the NHS budget. A drop in, I mean, a minuscule drop. We're looking at
minuscule. But in Enhertu, the issue is it doesn't just stop with Enhertu. Even if we got Enhertu over the line, the issue is that severity modifier. It's how it's graded, because if we got Enhertu over the line, the next one would get stuck.
Right.
So we have to go to the root of the problem.
And do you remember when we were in the Marsden, and a consultant, top consultant, said, when Hannah said, but won't this mean if this drug doesn't come through, then there could be another drug for women with secondary breast cancer that wouldn't even be offered? To which he replied, yes, not very good for UK PLC at all. And then since that, has there not been 2 other drugs that haven't even offered them?
They haven't even offered it because they know that it's not going to get through.
Wow.
Exactly as Hannah said.
Wow.
So,
well,
ladies, Thank you so much,
Helen.
And
I'm so sorry again for your loss.
Yeah, so lovely to have you with us. And I think I will change that to your name later afterwards. And of course, our prayers and our thoughts and our hearts go to Jeannie Ambrose and her family today. She really was a lovely woman. And there she is with Hannah. Look, and Mark took that beautiful photo of her on that incredible day that was filled with hope, that again, Tits organised in her unbelievably brilliant ways. So, yeah, love to you, Tits. I'll speak to you later. And to anybody here that has been touched by cancer and is maybe feeling very hurt today, hearing again the words not severe.
Yeah,
it's pretty damn severe secondary breast cancer, and shame on you, West Streeting.
Thanks, Helen. Thank you.
Thank you, darling.
See you
Ring
soon.
You later. Bye.
Oh. You're all right, sweetie.
Yes, I am. I'm angry. I'm really angry. I'm really angry. Just hearing it all again. This is 1,000 women. It's time and time again. Yeah. Women are let down within the medical world, and not just cancer.
Yeah.
Not just cancer. In loads. Look at women with endometriosis. You know, the way that women have been let, the average 10 years to get properly diagnosed.
Well, Zoe's been talking about
so
PMDD
angry.
as well. I mean, there are so it's such an egregious oversight. I mean, and the thing is, the thing that frustrates me is you see these stories, as I mentioned, of just huge sums of money that can be found, that hands can be laid on. And just rudimentary, it felt like, what are we looking at? A maximum of what? £1 million to £10 million to sort this, and you're looking at budgets of billions. It's just selective. But as Helen says, it is that root cause, isn't it? You need to change the filter. Where that filter kicks in needs to be dragged back again. There's a,
and we actually got West Streeting to talk to us originally because his inbox was literally flooded by people tagging him into everything about Inhertu. And I think we need to start. We have to wait to see what's happening with the court case, but we are not going away. We said right at the beginning, you've messed with the wrong group of people.
Absolutely.
Hannah, we love you.
Yeah.
And we won't stop.
Oh, guys. Well, I think, should we just share some thoughts from all of you guys? There were a lot of great comments coming in. Keep fighting, Helen, says Gabrielle. We are all with you and we'll never give up, and I'll help in any way I can. I've seen experimental drugs, says Murder She Wrote, used for 30,000 plus in children's oncology ward that were always approved by foreign embassies, but never by the NHS. Wow, really? That's interesting. If they'll facilitate it from abroad.
Well, of course, like in Germany, there's a whole list of what country you need to be in if you've got whatever kind of cancer.
No, but the fact that they can action it to be used here when they're seeing that, you know what I mean, in the hospital. So you could actually be from, say, Denmark in a bed. My mum was in hospital with someone from Sweden. They were receiving completely different treatment in a bed next to
them. Penny Mordaunt, when we went to see Penny Mordaunt, and again, Hannah was incredible in there.
Fun times forever.
I'm so sorry, darling. Yeah. And I know that it stirs things up for people. It really is the most awful disease. Fuck it, fuck cancer. Penny Mordaunt said to us, we do very badly in this country. She actually said that. She goes, there are drugs that have been, do you call them created, discovered? What do you say when you say drugs that have been created? Let's say created, but that's not the word. In this country, that are not available in this country, that we don't make available. Incredible. And, cancer drugs that go off to other countries, but we don't invest in them. Penny Mordaunt said that to us straight to our face in her office. She said that.
I'm not, it's a curious analogy, but so many things we produce, we have no access to in every strata of life. It's quite remarkable, things that would be useful to us. Northern Soul says it's not that secondary breast cancer is not serious, it's because they've already written you off.
Yes.
And are prioritizing primary cancers. Like it or not, I imagine it's going to get more means tested.
Yes, and that's the best way to say means tested with the severity modifier. But as we said, every day is so precious.
This sounds good, because I bought Nadia something called Eve, which was about the history of how medication and biology, the medical world has kind of always lent on male versions of the body rather than female. So a lot of received wisdom in the medical establishment is based upon male bodies, not women's. Mel XC5LK says, highly recommend a book called Invisible Women, all about data inequalities between women and men. Healthcare chapter is shocking.
Oh, thank you. Invisible Women.
Invisible Women. Okay,
right.
We'll look for that. Thank you.
Thank you. We love it when you give us book recommendations.
Yeah. Well, thanks, guys. God. Yeah. So
poor family.
Yeah.
Young, she's got teenagers.
I go back to that day, and it was just it was such a privilege
really
to
lovely.
be around you all. It really was.
It really was. Wasn't it an amazing day
really
of
was.
hope?
Yeah.
And there were very joyful moments
really.
as we were all getting ready, and then we were all literally shaking on that green out the front of Westminster, shaking with the vulnerability of it, the cold, all those cameras. It was a lot. Women shouldn't be having to do that.
Yeah.
God, come on.
Yeah. Oh, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
And thank you for all your continued kind words about our Hannah. And to the community, the secondary breast cancer community. We're so sorry, and we are, Tits very much led by Tits behind the scenes. There is rage.
Rage with a
purpose.
Smile. In terms of just some housekeeping, for those of you who are members, last night there was a No Name Sunday show, so do go over to the Sunday show playlist or go over to the community post. You'll see the link, and you can have a bit of a non-political escape for a bit. Me and Nadia almost get divorced. Later today, How to Stay Married is landing and speaks to the stories of divorce that are running through the press.
And we almost get divorced in that one as well.
Was there a theme?
It was a bad day yesterday.
God, was it a bad month?
No, I just think that with our podcast, right, guys, we, how people say, unfiltered, we really, afterwards, I could think about that podcast and think, oh God, people will think I was really hard on that, or people will think because everybody loves me.
Well, hang on a minute. I went upstairs and I thought she was really hard on me.
Yeah. So, but I'm never going to go back to a podcast and say, take that bit out, take that bit out, take that bit out. That's not who we are. That is her marriage. I was having a shit day yesterday, and I was fed up with lots of things, and Mark was annoying me. And we were going through this sort of checklist of how not to get divorced, basically. Yeah, we ended up nearly getting divorced.
Well, that's landing tonight.
Don't be upset, because towards the end, we do actually get divorced. No, but we are unfiltered. We don't fuck about when we say that. We don't say Instagram versus reality, and we're 3 hours in makeup. It's like we give it to you, because what we could not bear, either of us, is to people to go, oh God, if only our marriage was just like perfect Mark's and Nadia's. It's not perfect. It's perfect in its massive imperfections.
Okay, you've been saying that an awful lot recently.
I'm just preparing for our podcast.
And also for any movie lovers, my worst films of the year also landed yesterday. So go and check those out on the Popcorn Junkies playlist. So other than all of that, a lot more content coming your way. Vlogs are going to land. Home Times are landing. The new gardening series is coming. All sorts of wonderful content. Training dogs.
And don't forget,
you're going to be seeing a lot more of Helen.
Also on here.
Yeah,
the podcast is also on here. Yeah, we're going to be. Helen and I have got. We're going to have a bit of a challenge. I can't call her Helen. I don't like
Just call her Tits.
Lady Tits.
Lady Tits. I love Lady Tits.
Lady Tits.
Anyway, yeah. So you're going to be seeing a lot more.
And I are going to be doing, going to be doing a bit of a challenge, which should be good fun.
All right, guys.
So
have a lovely day, and as I say, How to Stay Married will be landing later, and just keep your eyes peeled and ears honed.
Oh, and we mustn't forget that we are going to be doing a live pepper for the members.
Yeah, for the members, and also I am waiting for Nadia to answer Dina about when the cook-along is happening. So you will be getting a date for the cook-along for the top tier members, okay? All right, guys, lots of love. Thanks for all of your comments. Thank you.